Hi, I'm Joey Lott, and in this video I'd like to reply to a request from a viewer, and he writes asking what he should do when he feels that he's pressured to get a job that he doesn't like. Should he just take the job, or should he hold out looking for a job that he loves? And of course, I'm not in the business of giving people life advice, so I won't start now, but I will suggest this, that with these sorts of things, what I've noticed is in my own life that I've invested a great deal of energy trying to solve a problem by thinking about it. And the person who writes this says that he's 21 years old, so um, but even at the age of 21, I believe that you've probably had enough life experience to recognize that this strategy of trying to solve your problems in this way just doesn't work. There are certain things for which thinking about something will help. Like if you want to figure out how do I get from point A to point B, then it might be helpful to take a look at a map, get some directions, and have an idea of that you can think about. But for these sorts of problems in life where we can just struggle with them and just think about it and think about it and think about it, we don't get the resolution that we're hoping for. And that's because, at least in my experience, what we're really looking for is to get rid of a feeling. So all of the thinking about it is it's a distraction in a way, but it's a strategy that we use unconsciously trying to get rid of the feeling. You see, we perceive that there's a problem. Now, the problem may have been triggered by there's pressure to get a job, and I don't really want that job, and so there's the trigger for it. But the problem that we actually are perceiving is this feeling, the feeling of discomfort, the feeling of unease, the feeling of maybe I'm wrong. Am I doing the wrong thing? Am I okay? Am I not okay? Am I accepted or am I not accepted? And this manifests then as I'm trying to get rid of the feeling, and so I'm thinking about it. But you see, all of the thinking is trying to solve this problem of getting rid of the feeling. We want to find the right thing to do that will get rid of the feeling. If I get the job, then I'll get rid of the feeling. But if I get the job, then I might not get rid of the feeling. So maybe I should not get the job, but then I'll still have the feeling. Maybe I should find a better job, but not sure. Maybe I'll still have the feeling. If I try to get a better job, then they'll be disapproving of me, so maybe I'll still have the feeling. So maybe I should just cave in and take this job that I don't really want, but then I'll still have this feeling. You see, so we're just trying to solve the feeling. And when this strategy doesn't work, and you just see that it typically doesn't work, then to me, just personally, it makes sense, and it's been useful in my life to look at the feeling instead of thinking about the right action to get rid of the feeling. Because the feeling is what's actually immediate. The feeling is what's happening right now. So we can spend a lot of time trying to solve this problem of getting rid of the feeling, even when thinking about it isn't going to do any good. So, what in that moment, let's say you're in bed and you're going to sleep, but you're thinking about this. Instead of thinking about it, at least as an experiment, it could be useful, at least I found it useful, to take a look at how is it that, to notice that there's a compulsion to think about it. And this compulsion, in my view, it's this compulsion to avoid the feeling. So that's the first most immediate layer. And so I would take a look at, what is this compulsion? How does it work? What is its nature? And how do I do it specifically? How do I do it? Because there is a way in which you do it, but you haven't been aware of it, and it tends to happen so quickly that you're not aware of it. But if you take a look, you can become aware of how do you do this compulsion. So there are the thoughts happening, and there's a compulsion to focus on the thoughts. So we don't need to stop the thoughts. I mean, you're not going to. Good luck. You could try that, but it won't work. In fact, the more you try to stop thoughts, the more thoughts you have. But what you can do is you can find out what the nature of this compulsion to focus on thoughts is. And as you become familiar with that, you can then relax that compulsion. So the thoughts are still there, the thoughts are still happening, and that's fine. You don't need to do anything about that. But you can relax the compulsion. So it's as though you're imagine for a moment that you're in a vast open space, and there's just this tiny little speck of dust that's floating around, and you've been focused on this tiny little speck, and that's all you've been seeing is just this tiny little speck. That's like focusing on the thought, just focused on this tiny little speck. So you have to then notice, how do I do that? So if you focused on this tiny little speck, there's a contraction, there's a tension in the eyes in this metaphor in order to focus on that tiny little speck. And I found that the compulsion to focus on a thought is similar in its nature. It's a contraction or a tension. And so as you become aware of that, then you can choose to soften that, just the same as you could choose, if you're focused on this little speck and you notice that there's a tension in your eyes to focus on the speck, you could choose to relax that tension. Now, as you choose to relax that tension, what happens is naturally you become aware of all of this, right? So the speck is still there. You're still aware of the speck, but you're now also aware of all of this. You're not giving your attention, so much attention, so much focus to this little speck. Now there's an open focus, we could say. So you can just become aware of that and then open the focus. And what you will then likely become aware of is that there's this feeling. And the feeling is you feel discomfort. However, whatever names you want to give to it, it's uncomfortable. This drives this compulsion to focus on the thought, because that focus on thought seems to give you some kind of protection. But if you just allow your focus to remain open, so there's the thoughts, they're happening, you're aware of them, but your focus is open, then the feeling is also allowed. Now, as I say, the tendency is to want to tense up again, to again focus on the thought, or on a different thought, or on something, focus on something, to contract. But what if you just allow that open focus? So there's the feeling, there's the discomfort, and you just continue to allow it. Don't do anything about it. See, this feeling has been rejected. You've rejected the feeling, and that hasn't done anything good. So now, by allowing for this open focus and just allowing for the feeling without doing anything to get rid of it, to change it, to distance yourself from it, to distract yourself from it, just allow it to be there with the same open focus. So you're aware of the feeling, the same as you're aware of the thoughts, same as you're aware of the space around you, the same as you're aware of the sensations in your body, same as you're aware of the sounds and the colors and the shapes and all of this. So you're just aware of all of it, and you allow all of it, and you don't need to do anything about any of it. And that's it. You just keep allowing it. So the tendency is, again, to want to focus on the thoughts. Yeah, I need to solve this problem. Should I get the job? Should I not get the job? Should I please them? Should I not please them? Should I do something I don't like? Should I hold out for something that I do like? But all of that has not really helped because you're just trying to get rid of the feeling. So instead of trying to get rid of the feeling, just allow the feeling. And I know that this doesn't seem like it helps. Now, if you have to make an immediate decision about something in life, then that's sometimes the case. Sometimes life just requires that. But if you're lying in bed and you're worrying about, should I take the job? Should I not take the job? What should I do? Because I want to get rid of this feeling of discomfort. Just open the focus, allow the feeling, allow the thoughts, allow all of it. Just be aware of all of it and don't do anything about any of it. And just practice that. Practice that at least as much as you practice focusing on the thoughts. And just find out what happens. Because you might discover that that getting rid of the feeling isn't so important. And that could help with this whole situation, right? Because then maybe it's just you just do whatever is easiest. Or maybe you do whatever's not easiest. Maybe you just do whatever is the most truthful thing for you. But if you're trying to get rid of the feeling, that's what drives everything. Then all of your behavior is compulsive. Then it's just trying to do whatever you can to get rid of the feeling. Instead of that, just find out what it's like to live life with the freedom of allowing the feeling and see what happens. Maybe the choices are clearer. So I would be interested in hearing from the person who made this request, how this works for you, if this is what insights this offers, what difference this makes in your life. And of course, anybody else who's watching this, if this is useful to you, I'd love to hear from you. If you have a topic that you'd like me to cover in a video, or if you have a question you'd like me to discuss in a video, please send me an email at joeylott@gmail.com, joeylott@gmail.com. That's the best way to contact me. It's better than leaving comments because I don't often see the comments left on videos. And as always, if you're watching this on Facebook, then please like my page and share this page with anybody who you think might enjoy it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. And in any case, please visit my website, joeylott.com, and sign up for whatever free offer I have available as you're watching this. Thank you as always, and I'll see you next time I do a video.